Hello everyone. Today we are talking to Raj Chowdhury, the Managing Director of HashCash Consultants and Reputed Expert in Blockchain and Cryptocurrencies. Raj writes for Economic Times, Business World, and advises industry leaders on the adoption of blockchain. Hello, Raj.
Hi, Svetlana. It is a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thanks as well for having time to talk to us. And as we all know that the internet became a game-changing technology for banks last century, in your opinion, will blockchain become similarly important in banking in the 21st century? And why do you think so?
So if you recall the early 90s, in the period when we had the dot-com boom, I would realize that there had been a slew of entrepreneurs that did everything from delivering flowers to real estate on the internet. Okay, but if you look at the financial industry, that advantage of internet has not penetrated as much as we would assume that it should, right? So the idea of those businesses were to eliminate the middleman, right? So in real estate, we see so many real estate companies that are over the internet that have successfully eliminated the middleman, and it has happened in many industries. Be it from e-commerce, where you see Birds and Novels used to be one of the largest book retailers, has been outcompeted by Amazon, right? For example. So we have seen these trends in the past couple of decades, but when you look at the financial industry, we still have those, age-old players who are the intermediaries when you have to make a payment. For example, if I would like to send a payment to you, it would be my account being debited from my bank, right, and being sent to your bank. So it's a transaction between the banks, right, and it's not a direct transaction between you and me. So with the advent of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, the advantage here is we are able to establish a transfer of value on a peer-to-peer network, right? So we had the components of the technology in the past, but what Bitcoin gave us is the understanding that we could combine cryptography and distributed ledger technology and use it in the transfer of value, right? So this would be a huge game changer, as big as the internet, because it's a very foundational technology, and it could be implemented in many industries. It's not just the financial industry. It could be extrapolated to, say, the supply chain industry or the pharmaceuticals or so many other industries where value transfer is happening, right? So it's going to be replacing the building blocks of many information technology infrastructures in various verticals and industries. Okay, so we're going to see this, more and more becoming prevalent in the next couple of years, and maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, we will see that blockchain has penetrated many aspects of our life, just like internet did or is doing right now.
Great. So as far as I know, apart from working at HashCash Consultants, you are an active investor at Satoshi Angels. And could you tell us, please, why do you focus on investments in blockchain startups, particularly related to the financial field?
Investment in startups has to begin with you. So it's the protagonist is you, where you understand the industry. So startup is a game where you are trying to achieve the impossible, right? So you need to have specific expertise in that domain and this area. So the reason I prefer investing in this area is, the first and the most important thing is, this is the area of my expertise, right? So I have been a bank executive for a few years. I have been in the payment side of things in this industry, and more importantly, I did the first implementation, between ICICI Bank in India and Emirates and BD in UAE. So this is the area I understand very well. That is the most important point to me. So I'm able to contribute to the extent that I would like to. And secondly, this is such a huge market. I mean, this is, we are looking at, possibly $100 billion market here, right? So the disruption that will happen in this market is huge in the next coming years, in the next 2 to 3 years. So this is where you would want to be. This is the possibly the only market, emerging technology and market that would be the largest disruption that we would see in the next decade. So, one is my own personal experience and expertise, and second is the market, which is huge, and it's extremely interesting, and the disruption is going to be something that we haven't seen before.
Raj, being an experienced investor, will you please share your knowledge? How do you understand that the startup you are investing in would be able to grow and bring the return on investments in the future?
So I think in this area, there are a couple of markets in this area. One is understanding cryptocurrency markets, and second is understanding blockchain markets. And then there is a place where there is an intersection of blockchain and cryptocurrency markets, right? So these are the three specific areas. So, for example, in the blockchain market, you have implementations of blockchain within your existing IT infrastructure, right? For example, if you understand how the Bitcoin network works, right, it's essentially helping you establish that a Bitcoin, which is assumed to be of something of value to the network participants, okay, is transferred from, let's say, Alex to Bob, right? So this is a currency transfer according to the Bitcoin network. The same philosophy can be extended to the transfer of assets, right? Or documents. So, for example, if you want to send me $1, right? If you send me a picture of a dollar, right, through email, I will have the dollar in my email, but that's not a value transfer, right? Because you have a copy of the dollar, and I also have a copy of the dollar, right? So nothing can establish, or the email cannot establish the fact that you have actually transferred that value to me, or vice versa, right? So what blockchain gives you is that ability, when you send the dollar over the blockchain, the network can establish with a very high amount of certainty that the dollar has now been transferred to this ID, or this person holding that ID, right? Or the public key, rather, in the Bitcoin world or cryptocurrency world. So this can be extrapolated to any asset. So assets can be traded over a blockchain network. For example, even on the public network like Ethereum network, you could transfer assets, right? Or the technology can be used within the existing banking infrastructure in the transfer of assets between banks or customers of those banks, or corporate customers of those banks, retail or corporate customers, right? So the same fundamental can be used to transfer financial messages, which is a big part of what the financial industry does. So today they use Swift messages, right? That could be replaced with free of cost blockchain messaging, number one. It could be used for transfer of assets and documents, and then finally it could also be used for transfer of value, right? Or actual transactions. So all three possibilities exist in this market, okay? On the cryptocurrency market, you have companies which operate payment processors, for example, maybe BitPay, or some of the other major processors that are currently helping merchants integrate with card systems or giving them pay now buttons to accept Bitcoin payments. There is another set of companies which act as trading platforms, right? Trading platforms and wallets. So, for example, Coinbase or Paybito, for that matter, in India, or ZPay, and companies like that in India, right? And of course, in the US, you have so many exchanges: Kraken, Bitstamp, Bitfinex. Coinbase operates more like as a retailer, right? So these are very specific, different markets that this blockchain and cryptocurrency has. Okay, so and each of these markets are very promising. It's very promising. So when I'm looking at a company, right, for investing, it's important to understand right now you can still go after large markets. This is about time, but after that, maybe in another 6 months to a year, those markets will be all saturated, right? You have to find more niche markets. But right now, you can go after larger markets. So that's what we are doing. For example, we have invested in Paybill, which is an exchange operating out of India, and now in the US they're starting up in the next couple of weeks, right? So we are running a blockchain network called HCNet, which has various banking applications operating on top of it. For example, we have a retail remittance application that banks use. We have a trade finance, corporate payment application. We have a payment processing application that leverages blockchain as well. So these are two markets that I'm intently interested in. One is in the area of blockchain and remittance and payments. The other one is in the cryptocurrency area with Paybill that operates as an exchange in India and then will open up in the US as well.
Rashad, what is your attitude to the popular fundraising model used by startups called ICO?
So ICO, in the case of ICO, you have to understand that investing in an ICO is no different than investing in a startup company. Okay? And investing in a startup is always a risky affair unless you are an expert in that area. Okay. So for example, even if you look at venture capital or private equity funds, right, which invest in startups, and you must have heard this many times, almost a cliche that 9 out of 10 companies that a venture capital firm would invest in would possibly fail, right? Or possibly one company that would give them the returns that they are looking for, but the 9 others would fail, right? So investing in an ICO is, again, it's no different than investing in a startup. So you realize that even private equity firms, which has not only got the money and the expertise, they also have the influence to make a startup work. Okay. And in spite of that, 9 out of 10 fail. So now as a common man, you are investing in a startup. Okay. You got to be aware of these risks, right, when you are doing that. So whenever you're looking at an ICO, look at it as a company, right? Will it succeed or will it fail? If you can understand the bottom line of that company and the business it is in, the market it is in, only go for investing in ICO in those cases. Otherwise, it's a very, very risky affair. Because cryptos only helps opening up this startup market to the public, which was previously a closed market to larger investors or institutional investors, right? So crypto is only opening it up to the common man. But it's not helping you reduce any of the risk associated with a startup. So you got to be very careful in investing in ICO. And second is, I'm all in favor of regulating ICOs as well, because it is important that we have a legal framework in order to gauge ICOs and the risk that is involved in it, and very clear communication and understanding from the common man as to what he's getting into.
And there are different opinions on the regulation of cryptocurrencies. Some experts say that cryptocurrencies should be banned, others think that a strict control is required, and still others support a mild regulation. And which approach is closer to you and why?
Instead of picking sides, I would sort of say where I think this is possibly heading, okay, and that will give a better idea of what is coming ahead of us. So, see, the important thing here is that cryptocurrencies are not controlled by governments, okay, and the governments cannot stop it. And if they could, they would have stopped it, because it will affect central banks and the way our global economy functions, as a matter of fact. Okay, so Bitcoin and no government controls Bitcoin or Ethereum or Ethers or any of the other cryptocurrencies that are out there, right? And they cannot stop it. So the best approach here is to regulate it. Otherwise, you're going to give rise to a black market, right? Where you would not be able to control what's going on with the cryptocurrencies. So I think it's very important for governments to understand the technology and regulate it well so that it is, the bad actors are filtered out, right? And the good actors are helped through the regulation, right? That is the key. Because you'll hear this often, right? There's a lot of anonymous transactions happening over the Bitcoin network, right? There's a lot of drugs and arms and other kind of illegal industries that are using Bitcoin payments, right? And we blame Bitcoins for that. But tell me, what is the currency in the world that's used the most to sell drugs and arms? What is it? It's USD, right? It's a US dollar, but we don't blame the US dollar for it, right? So I think it's not the right thing to be blaming a currency for the way the bad actors are using it, right? The only way to be able to reduce or help the good actors here is to regulate it, right? So I think what we will see is what we have seen in many countries right now, from Japan to South Korea to many other countries in the world, where they are moving towards a framework of regulation. So is, I think I might say India also is going towards that, where they are studying and trying to create a framework which would help the country and not kill the companies in the cryptocurrency blockchain areas that are operating out of India, rather helping them do the right things and regulate them in a way that they can grow and compete with the rest of the world.
Okay, thank you very much, Raj, for being here with us. And I hope to see you. Again, I hope to see you at the Bitcoin conference. So hope to see you there. And bye for now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to you and looking forward to the talk coming up. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.